Get wrecked, you incel clown. So imagine avoiding a debate with me for weeks, just for this to be your first and only response to me, and then blocking me right after you send it, so that I can't respond back and you don't get embarrassed. What's going on, everyone? It's your favorite host and jealous hater Apoc, and welcome back to the channel. So over a month ago, I debunked DCP's entire slander campaign against me, where he pushed out a video with a very small handful of compiled clips that were extremely manipulated to look a certain way to fit his narrative and were taken way out of context. And I guess all this is in response to me apparently going after his family, which by the way he has no receipts for, but still told his rabid dogs that's what I did. I mean, one would think that if DCP had any sort of evidence to his claim, it would have been easily clipped out and showcased within his little video, and yet it wasn't. Coincidence? I think not. I mean, to be real, that would have been a great way to discredit me. It's just too bad I'm not like that. I'm not like him. I don't need to go after someone personally or push out their personal information to try to discredit them. I take their own words from their own content and use it as a weapon against them, which he tried to do the same with me, but utterly failed. It's a damn shame too that he's just so bad at what he does. But I guess it is true to what they say. Big ego, small brain. But anyways, I figured since he threw out this hit piece on me that I again debunked entirely. But since he did all that, I figured it was time for my own version. But this time it will be done right. This time we will show him how it's really done and a master at work. Because you see, I don't need to take things out of context or manipulate anything. I'm just going to embarrass the fool. Okay, let's get him. So to begin, DCP and his fetus army love to push the narrative that I have said the most egregious things, the most heinous and disgusting things about women, and that he would never stoop to Apoc's level, my level, because the dad bod of YouTube has integrity. And yet, no matter how many times they tell themselves that, that does not make it a fact. 99.9% of that video was nothing but out of context manipulation and lies.
Well, what about zooming in on Kira's butt?
Yeah, that's old news. That's why my community was unfazed by the whole ordeal. At least the ones with a functioning brain. And that's not called being biased either. My true followers know me and my content the best. That's why when DCP pushed out his lies and deceit, they already knew to just sit and wait for daddy's response, which it only took me like 2 days to debunk because it was just that easy. Well, Josh, the guy who can apparently handle any and all criticisms, who apparently welcomes it, has not yet once debunked any of the 100+ videos made on him by 33 other content creators. Yes, that's how many videos and how many other YouTubers have made videos on the clown. But he has yet to debunk anybody who criticizes him. He just makes up excuses and calls all haters, you know, like the vloggers do. That's a little odd for a guy who says he likes dialogue. But I guess he'll only entertain that idea if those other creators exploit their own children.
I wish more vloggers would do this. I think Jess Fam, if she really wanted to, she could snark fest. Oh yeah, I think she could roast if she really wanted to get into it. She would probably be pretty good at it.
So he welcomes all criticism, but only if it's valid. But the only evidence we have of this is him wishing Jess Fam would roast him back, but not like sit down and actually have a real discussion with her. Nothing like that at all. He would rather have her roast or snark back to him instead of having any of us content creators who actually have something to say, who actually criticize him and his channel. He will not invite any of us on to have a real conversation about the problems that we see with him. Yeah, that doesn't sound like someone who wants to hear the truth. Or, you know, get embarrassed and take that L in front of his entire community. But anyways, what tickles my little pickle is that he tried to use those out of context clips against me, trying to imply that I'm some sort of misogynistic hypocrite or something for calling him out while having those clips on my channel. But like I said, it didn't really work outside of his own echo chamber. Now with the Kira and her butt thing, in the time I was just trying to give her a compliment, and then later on realized how problematic that was, or at least the way it was executed. There are plenty of ways you can give out compliments to anyone, but I obviously gave an inappropriate one, and I acknowledged that. But he still tried to use it against me, even after owning up. I mean, it's there, so why do you use it? Funny how he skipped that part. Now what makes all of this even more delicious is that the guy who's calling me out for zooming in on Kira's butt is the same guy who makes fun of women for things out of their control. He claims that's not what he does, but he's also said he actually doesn't know.
But I do make fun of surface level things like their parents and stuff like that. But I wouldn't, like, something that you can't help, I likely wouldn't say anything. I really probably don't. Maybe I have, but I don't think so. If it's something you can't help, I'm really not going to be like, eh. But if it's something that you did to yourself, like a transformer, I'm making fun of you.
So one would think, right, that if you didn't do those things that you would know for sure. I mean, he sounds pretty confident on it, but then he kind of backpedals. So it kind of tells me that he does make fun of women for things out of their control, things that they were born with. There's plenty of examples of this. He makes fun of voices, looks, etc. What was that about integrity? Well, folks, I hate to break it to you. Actually, I don't.
Santa's Helpers doing Jingle Bell Rock.
All the dads watching this are like, I'm not going to say it but you know what I'm saying.
Sounds like DCP is implying that all the dads, men, and married men who are watching this video are only watching it because they are checking out these women for no other reason than the way they look, which this falls under objectifying women, which by default pretty much means that's what he's doing right now. You know, a dad, a married man, who's apparently happy in his relationship with his wife. So he says. But what I said was an issue. But what he just said isn't a problem. I mean, come on though. What do we expect from a guy who says he checks out other women right in front of his own wife?
Look at that look right there. Okay, this is that look where, like, if you're shopping with your wife and you've, like, looked at some other lady's ass or whatever, you look at your wife and she does this and you're like, oh, hey.
Now, some biased goon will claim that I'm taking these things out of context, and that's not what he said at all. Blah, blah, blah. But how else can you interpret what he said? His words implied the experience of getting the death glare from the old ball and chain. That is literally a so-called family man claiming that him and other family men are staring at other married women online behind their wives' backs. But like I said, what should we expect? DCP literally admitted to disrespecting his own wife right to her face by ogling other women in public. Bruh. But in his own attempt to slander me, all he did was to make himself look like an even bigger fool than he already is, which I didn't even think was possible. So we do have to give him credit where credit's due. But how in the hell are you going to push out a video and give the impression that being misogynistic is a bad thing while being a misogynist yourself? I mean, so far it's plain as day, and I'm not even close to being done with this one. Those cheeks are mine, boy. And the best part is that it's not like these clips that I'm pushing out on him are from years ago. The majority of them are within the last few months or so, unlike the ones they pushed out on me, which are like 2 years old and even pushing 3. You see, that's the difference between me and Will Say So over here, is that while I've owned up, he still thinks it's okay to talk and behave like this and make fun of women because it works, because he's been doing it this entire time since the start of his channel and doesn't need to change for anyone because A, B, and C.
What bugs me the most about the people that liked me before and don't like me now is that they all of a sudden think that I've changed. I asked my mods who I trust, be honest with me. Has my snark changed? Or is it just because I do it a lot more? And they said, nope, your snark has stayed steady and I trust them.
So he has to ask others as a grown man with a platform on whether or not if he's being too mean or crossing the line. The guy who's supposed to be the voice of reason. The guy who's apparently the dad of YouTube, who creates content based around the mindset of being a dad, and who is apparently leading the charge against child exploitation, against all these bad people, these vlog moms and dads. And yet he is the one that has to be kept in check and doesn't know right from wrong. And you know, keep in mind, people, that his so-called trusted circle, which are his own biased mods, by the way, are nothing but a bunch of mean girls anyways. And this is the same trusted circle who let him dox Brianna K, putting a whole ass family in danger. You know, the guy who wants to protect kids from online predators? But I guess showing Brianna K's street on Google Earth in front of roughly 100,000 randoms online wasn't meant with bad intentions. At least that's what he likes to claim. Not really sure what the hell the point even was to all that, or how the hell that protects their kids from online predators in any way, shape, or form. But hey, I guess me questioning why an apparent child safety advocate would put kids in danger makes me a jealous hater. I mean, to be real, the only conclusion that I can even fathom in this situation is that he was trying to hype up and rally his community together to go to her home and harass her. Wouldn't be the first time he weaponized his following either. And I know some will say that he would never do such a thing. Even the people who criticize him the most are probably questioning that statement right now. They're like, Apoc, what are you talking about? That's a bold claim. Why would you say that? Well, because of this clip.
I'm going to picket outside of your house with people. I'm going to your hometown and I'm going to picket you. I'm going to bring a bunch of people to hang outside your house and picket what dirtballs you are. The next step is the next step. that's what's going to happen.
So here we have an example of DCP literally doing the very thing that I said he was trying to do to Brianna K. Keep in mind that I made a very serious claim against him, and then right after said claim, I was able to prove it that he's done stuff like this with full receipts, and with literally zero lies and manipulation at play. The point is, DCP loves to twist and spin things for his own narratives and makes claims against a lot of people like me who question him, yet seems to fall short when it comes to providing any sort of proof. Now, as for the whole going to the sufferer's home and harassing them, that's really odd behavior for someone with a platform that's intended to protect kids from online weirdos. Seems like the only one that they need protection from is Josh. I mean, who in their right mind wants to do something like that? On top of not thinking about the other kids that live there either. How could you not factor these other children in while you have a platform advocating for children? In fact, he spent a lot of his time advocating for Huxley, and yet he wants to put his old siblings in danger. It's literally common sense that that's a bad thing. Not to mention Josh wanted to fight James Stauffer personally.
Fight me. You and I, buddy. I've never had a boxing match before. You played hockey in college. You probably know how to fight.
So with all the stalking, harassing, and putting kids in danger, it seems like Josh is a pretty dangerous guy and a very unstable person, and has no business or credibility speaking about the safety of children. Oh, and for any of those who are confused on the stalking part, peep this.
James has got 1 million subscribers, so now we have to take it to the next level. We are going to hire a private investigator, James and Micah. We're going to actually truly find out through private eyes, and if that doesn't work, we're actually going to start coming to picket where you are. Because as soon as COVID's over, I'm driving down to Ohio, and I'm going to stand outside of your house with pickets, with a bunch of people who hate you, and we're going to picket outside your house.
So he can try to dox and actually dox other creators. He can threaten to stalk and harass the Stauffers with the help of randoms online that he doesn't even know, by the way, and he can hire someone to follow them around everywhere, watching their every move for no good reason at all, other than him wanting to make them uncomfortable living their life, and used all that as content, and even threatened Huxley's new adopted parents.
And I want to say this too. The person who has H right now, I keep reaching out to her on Instagram because she's using him on her Instagram, and I'm like, please don't. And she keeps blocking me. So I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm not going to tell you where to go, but I'm pissed because she keeps ignoring me. So trust me, this lady. You don't want the people who are 4-H to come after you to be doing stupid stuff.
But all this wasn't meant with bad intentions? This isn't a threat? What world does he live in? And the fact that his community just shrugs all this off is mind-boggling. But hey, don't really expect much from people who watch this so-called content unironically. But anywho, check out this pinned comment that he left on the video where he threatened the Stauffers. If you are here because of the protest bit, I won't delete it. But don't forget to watch the next episode where I retract this by listening to my subs. So he retracts the statement, but doesn't actually want to delete the statement. Bruh. But I thought keeping things up on your platform implies that you still believe those things, or that you don't think you did any wrong. Or won't change or whatever. I mean, at least that's the energy I got from his community. They had that with me. They were doing that to me because I left up my old edgy videos. They gave me a lot of grief for it. But he can just keep up anything he wants with no issue. Or does that energy only apply to the so-called haters? Remember what I said about having a biased echo chamber? And since when did he ever start listening to his subs? Didn't the little queen just go off on how he only listens to people within his trusted circle? Who told me that with kids being there that it's not appropriate, so I retracted it. So imagine having to be told by a random that showing up with a bunch of other randoms to a house full of kids to harass their parents isn't the brightest of ideas. It's actually super ironic. The guy who apparently had so much to say about the Stauffers and what they did to poor Huxley, bashing them for traumatizing him, but he threatens the Stauffers, Huxley's other siblings, and Huxley's new adoptive parents too. And yet, like I said, he's the voice of reason for some people. Not that it will matter to the haters, because that won't help your narrative. Oh, there it is. My favorite thing in the world that these people say.
The haters did it.
My guy sounds like a vlog mom, bro. But what narrative are people trying to push against you, DCP? The only one trying to spin things is you. People calling you out on situations isn't them trying to make you look bad or drama bait. You did that on your own, my guy, by not thinking about other kids. But it is funny how no one outside of his sub count is allowed to call him out, even if it's for the same exact thing, and yet he has built a platform on calling other people out and on their communities, which by the way is the epitome of having an echo chamber. Guess he can dish it but can't take it. I mean, his smear campaign against me is the reaction of someone who knows they are clearly outmatched intellectually. Well, and physically too. I mean, if me and him got in a boxing ring, he'd burn out within the first 30 seconds of the first round because his endurance is dog shit. I mean, have you seen the way the guy works out? He has no idea what he's doing. And I'm basically a foot taller than the guy. No shade, but it's not even a fair fight. It'd be like Goku versus Frieza from Dragon Ball Z. But, if Frieza was weak, out of shape, and non-planetary. Although he does have Frieza's racist tendencies. I'll give him that one.
White buddy and I are driving through Detroit in his little Hyundai accent, listening to Christian hip-hop. And these guys, it was stupid, it was dumb, because we got lost in downtown Detroit. Don't ever get lost as white people downtown Detroit, okay?
I mean, as anyone, really.
As anyone, don't. And these guys pull up in this giant Tahoe, or this big, giant black, I don't know what it was, Escalade or something, roll down their window and look at us, and they say, "What are you listening to?" We roll up our window, and the highway was right at the next exit. We hopped on the highway and took off. We were like, I don't even know. And I don't even know. That was scary because we don't know anything because we're from Canada, man. We don't have that kind of stuff.
Now again, there's no other way to interpret this clip. Although that is unless you're a biased clown who will justify and make excuses for anything your god says or does.
He never actually stated their race. He said they were in a black Escalade.
So then why did he mention his own race? He said he felt unsafe as a white guy in Detroit. And what, you're basing it off of black SUVs? That makes no sense at all. You're not going to be afraid of a vehicle because of your race. They don't discriminate. They'll run over anyone. He could have said anything else, like he felt unsafe because of the huge crime rate within Detroit, that he was alone in the country and was scared. That would have been reasonable and understandable. But that's not what he did. That's not what he said at all. And he was never alone. He was with his buddy, who was white, by the way, which he emphasized on, and got shook over someone asking them to what kind of music that they're listening to. So much for being this all-around friendly guy. So if you don't know, the main demographic of Detroit is black people. And even if he didn't mean them, he's still saying that he's afraid of another group of people because of the color of their skin or just how they look. We know he's not afraid of white people. He made that pretty clear in his statement. And I'm kind of curious to what they don't have in Canada. What are those things, Josh? Black SUVs? Is that what he meant? Or is it just friendly people asking questions? To me, it kind of sounds like he's saying that Canada doesn't have black people in it. There's no way he's talking about crime in Canada because that ship is sailed, which by the way is a heinous and disgusting crime against natives in Canada. And even if he was talking about the crime rate, that makes this whole situation even worse because he's implying that he's scared as a white guy in Detroit and correlating the crime with people of color. And all they did was just ask him a simple question. I mean, do you guys remember Barbecue Becky? Yeah, I'm getting those vibes right now. But even with all that, I'm racist for not knowing how to pronounce an ethnic last name. Bruh. Which, by the way, that last name that I didn't know how to pronounce, at the time at least, belongs to Karen and Kwa Nguyen, otherwise known as KK and Baby J, who are vloggers who are very well known for their actual racism. And when called out for it, they do what DCP does and just tells the so-called haters to just get over it and that it's not going anywhere. But anyways, Josh never taking kids into consideration is nothing new for him. He has never actually learned from his past actions and behaviors, and we have evidence of this because he's still doing the same damn things he's been doing. The Breonna K situation is evident. I mean, that was literally this year in January 2022, while the threatening to stalk, harass, and dox the stoffer thing was back in October 23rd, 2020. So basically, a year and a half apart from each other, and it seems like he hasn't changed at all when he claims that he did, and that he's kept in check by his inner circle of wretches. And like I said, the fact that he needs to be put in check by others literally means he doesn't know right from wrong, which also implies that he doesn't actually think that he's done anything wrong himself. And this is the same guy who claims that he's the first one to call himself out when he's done something wrong. Yet he constantly has to be told by other people, his biased people, that his behavior is inappropriate. To me, that doesn't sound like someone who has a fraction of accountability. Just sounds like a tiny little unhinged cringe, egotistical narcissist who is literally trying to put whole ass families in danger because he gets off on it and knows that he can get away with it because of his 100,000 enablers. He likes to fill families with fear, especially women, and make them uncomfortable, and that's why he does what he does. Maybe it's payback for not getting mommy's full attention, or maybe it has to do with his sister, who knows. But we do know that he mocks anyone and everyone outside of his echo chamber who call him out. Like I said, even if it's for the same thing that they apparently call him out for. And eventually, when he finally has to admit a wrongdoing, he never actually takes full accountability and owns up. I mean, we just went over how he retracted a statement, but didn't actually want to fully retract the statement by deleting it. He didn't want to take it down. Not to mention, he makes all these excuses and justifications and likes to blame the victim.
I do want to apologize to bits of Brianna K, that I'm sorry that I put your house on YouTube. It's not an excuse, but I didn't see her. I honestly, truly didn't see her name of the road on the street name. It's just an oversight. I will never do it again. You know, I basically wanted to see how far Target was from her house.
So imagine having a platform where you push the idea that vloggers put their families in danger because they show a blueprint to their lives and that they push out way too much personal information to their audiences, in which I'm willing to agree because that is a fact. I've said this before myself. But imagine saying all that, claiming that these people are rolling the dice with their kids' safety, and then literally doxing those same kids that you've been advocating for. Bruh. And then to quadruple down on his insanity, the reasoning for him doing all that to Brianna K, doxing her, was to see how far away Target was from her home. Because, you know, that's not creepy in itself. Dude talks about these vloggers showing a blueprint while literally creating content, naming off landmarks and whatnot, literally creating a blueprint for other people to see. I mean, if someone bad got a hold of his video at the time, they could have used it to hurt that family. Just think about that. But again, he doesn't factor any of that in, which is odd because the whole idea behind trying to bring awareness to child exploitation is to showcase and explain the potential harm that can come out of it from inside the home by the parents and outside the home from random weirdos who want to do bad things. You don't see me breaking down house tours, do you? Because there's no point to them. There's no benefit. It doesn't help the kids. It doesn't further the cause. It only goes against it. And yet DCP loves that type of content. Shocker. So I do have some questions for the little guy. Where did you get her address from? Did you go out and look for it? Why did you do that? And you know, even if you did find it just by searching up her name, that doesn't mean you actually go and do it and look up her address and show it to the world. Like I said, that doesn't keep kids safe. That's actually the opposite of safety. Let's also keep in mind that this is the same creep who apparently felt threatened by our private DMs where I sent him his own address privately, warning him about his own mod, sending it to me, trying to backstab him. But he felt threatened by me, by our DMs, but doesn't see an issue with anything he does when he actually threatened to go to someone's home and harass them with actual children there. I mean, if we're going to use his own logic, his name, address, and number are super easy to find too. Not that he even tried to look them up. Don't get it twisted. I already proved his mod did what she did. But what I did do was Google his name to do some research to get a full grasp of his online presence. And it was all just there for the world to see, because it seems like he's been a little too personal online as well, just like the vloggers. Not that I'm promoting for anyone to go and look for anything or his information, but why aren't we allowed to blame him for things like that when he blames everyone else? That doesn't seem very fair. This guy likes to play dirty, but doesn't like when anyone else does the same. I mean, just imagine if I didn't privately message him and I did what he did to Brianna K instead. Him and his community would be up in arms. They actually did act like I really doxed him too. Nothing but a bunch of hypocrites. But anyways, let's keep poking the bear.
Again, how did they block this whole area off? Boobs everywhere. There's boobs everywhere.
Oh, commenting on boobs that don't belong to your wife. Okay, nothing to see here, folks.
I will be making fun of people's appearances, so if you don't like that, don't watch.
So this is the same guy who clipped out my videos making it look like that I was making fun of appearances, which I debunked, but who is now boasting about making fun of the appearances of women and yet tells people to just get over it.
Now, I have asked Aaron who this person is because I was like, are those real? And Aaron said, they are real. They've been reduced.
So a creepy middle-aged so-called man is asking a female, who's not his wife by the way, about another female's breast and whether or not they're real.
This is Erin Williams. She's one of my favorites. There's no joke. I like Aaron. We talk all the time.
This had nothing to do with making fun of appearances or anything like that. Just reminding you all that DCP gets along and is actively talking to Aaron Williams, a person who exploits her own children, and a person he claims that we're all supposed to hate and that he wants to deplatform, which he did the same to this Nicole Polson girl. She decided to roast him back or whatever, and after this cringe fest of a video, he responded saying that we all should just ignore the fact that she takes advantage of others being an MLMer.
She's a top tier 1% MLMer, and you guys know how I feel about that. But in the spirit of snarkiness and the spirit of roast, we got to leave that behind. It's not about that. It's about somebody stepping up to roast the dad of YouTube.
He also did zero research on it before making the video. My guess is he was just too happy and giddy that he finally got some attention from a pretty blonde girl. Lord knows he's not used to it. So because he got roasted back, he decided to have fun with her instead of actually exposing her for the filth that she is.
You know that these are real. That's great. But here, are those teeth real? Did she pull off a crazy pieces? We all know the eyelashes are definitely not real, 100%. If her ears are real, then we'll see.
So he goes from commenting on someone else's breast size to asking about her breast to now circling and breaking down her body and then starts rating her. Gee, and all I said was that Kira had a nice booty. And his community considered a crime against humanity. It's also like we're living in a Twilight Zone. Press about what I said, but they are in the comments joining in, not giving a single f. Tell me you're biased and brain dead without telling me.
Very tall, very thick.
Thick? When I say thick, I mean like in a really good way. I like thick women.
Women stand this guy.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear the heat from the women. Y'all pointed out their boobs! You're a misogynist!
Bro, he did not just say that. So let me get this straight. He goes after me for old edgy content that was based from a couple years ago, even 3 maybe, manipulating everything and taking it all out of context, and used it as a way to say, hey, this is wrong and this guy's a hypocrite, but can just come on his platform and mock other women who find a problem with what he's saying, calling him a misogynist. Bruh. So how can he imply that I'm a misogynist when I've owned up to my past and don't say those things anymore and have proved that time and time again? I even recently made a new video based around one of my old ones with those twin sister vloggers who are actively sleeping with the same man, living in this up dynamic where I wasn't actually being a misogynist. I was just a tad bit too raunchy. I'll give you that one. But I revised the video because I wanted to show everyone that I can make a video based around the same topic without being edgy or gross. But what is funny, in that old video, the old version, I called the girls trashy, and DCP used that to slander me. Yet here he is calling Maya Knight trashy. It's like DCP love to take these L's, man. This is too damn easy. But he does this all the time. He mocks the people who call him out. He doesn't think he's done anything wrong. He doesn't think he's a misogynist. He doesn't want to change, which, by the way, all these are red flags of a narcissist. Dude made a whole ass video dedicated to talking about women and rating their bodies. Like there's no reading between the lines here. He even said if you wear makeup or alter your body in any way, shape, or form, that he's allowed to make fun of you.
I think it's fair game that if you're going to push a whole ton of shit, whole ton of chemicals and everything in your body, I'm allowed to comment on it. Because I actually think that natural beauty is a really important thing.
I'm sorry, man, but thinking you're entitled to making fun of women just because you as a man like the all-natural look doesn't actually give you the right or entitlement to actually do those things. It doesn't give you a pass to make fun of women. And again, it's like the Brianna K situation, thinking he has the right to dox her and expose where she lives just because she shows the blueprint to her life. This mentality he has is actually kind of scary. It makes him seem like a very dangerous person. Imagine what his wife goes through. It actually blows my mind some of the stuff he believes or tells himself, that he has the right to belittle and degrade women just because it's not his preference. This is literally the mind of a true misogynist. And like I said, it's not like this were from a couple years ago. The Mean Girls dance video was last year in December, and his hit piece on me was only a month out from that. Oh, you know how I said that DCP loves natural women? What's this then?
I unpacked my wife's purse in front of you guys. I did break her lip plumper, as it's called. My bad, because you're supposed to twist it off, and I went...
Seems like DCP be letting his wife plump up her lips unnaturally. Maybe it's so she can look like Aaron Williams. Bet you he'll be screaming to his community that I went after his wife again, even though it didn't actually throw any shade at her at all. It's just shade towards him. But hey, it's not my fault that you let the world know that you're unhappy. Now, one thing that I left out in my DCP slander debunking video was this community post on me, which was super cringe, by the way. And we're just gonna dive into that mess and slap him around a little bit more. Oh, but before we do, peep this.
Well, that's just my love makes multi-surface cleaner. Smells like my vag.
So me making a comment about Kira's butt was bad, right? But not breaking down women's entire bodies and then rating them, talking about breast sizes and even circling them, making inappropriate comments, and now talking about Love Meg's vagina and what it smells like. Am I missing something here? And the fact that his community was so upset with me just for what he showed is just extremely laughable.
One thing that I can't stand here is when people come after my family. They are not fair game. They are not on here. They aren't shared with the world.
Well, actually they are. To be fair, they really are. The guy literally has his family on his channel now in other videos. Or did you just forget this clip, Josh? Context, his kids are dancing and one of them is in nothing but a diaper. You know, the guy who speaks out against that sort of thing? It's still there too, on his channel, yet bashes vlog moms for doing the same damn thing.
So when you come after me, sending me my own address, and then after realizing that it was a threat, sending me another message to try and mitigate it.
Okay, hold up. So, this is just hilarious. He said that I tried to mitigate the threat, right? After realizing that it was a threat? But doesn't that mean when I originally sent it to him that I didn't know it could have been perceived as a threat? Or that it was even a threat at all? So how did I even threaten him? By his own words, he's implying that none of it was actually meant with bad intentions and that later on I realized it could be, so I backpedaled to mitigate it. He just debunked his own claims against me. Not sure how he fumbled the ball with that one. Now, you can just chalk up the DMs to being weird, sure. But to be fair, my life doesn't revolve around him. I don't report to him. So if I wanted to wait a week, I would have. To be honest, I did him a favor. He should be more grateful. I found his mole. Plus, I didn't really think he was such a and tried to use this situation to terminate my channel instead of debating me. I mean, I should have expected these things from him, but I didn't. But like I said, I didn't actually think anything of it, especially because he's someone who actually doxed other people. So I didn't think it was a big deal. I mean, when you look at it, at least what I did was between us. Well, he's literally put other people in danger, kids in danger, families in danger. Who's the real threat here?
Then creating an edited post to try to say just jokes, bro.
Yeah, I didn't say that. I replied to another comment with another creator making a joke, a clear joke, that we should rescue his wife. I mean, pause and read this damn thing. Where the am I going to get a Black Hawk helicopter from? Bet he wishes though that he had some of those American freedoms right now, huh? But we felt bad for his wife. I mean, anyone would. So we made a joke, and he tried to use it against me to terminate my channel because he can't argue with me or have a debate. He would get destroyed. That's why he did that. But yes, I did edit the comment saying kidding, not just jokes, bro. I said kidding because as I've shown, he weaponizes his community to go against people. And I didn't want anyone else to try to take that comment out of context and report it and flag my channel. Now to be clear, I didn't change a damn word within the comment itself. I just added the kidding part so that it didn't get flagged. But that's it. Nothing else was altered in any way, shape, or form. I'm not DCP. I don't need to manipulate to make my point. But it is quite comical how this guy gets so butthurt over a joke, yet was actually threatening to stalk, harass, and dox the Stopper family and show up with a bunch of randoms from across the country or even the world. I get it. I'm fair game. Come after me all you want, but don't ever threaten my family. It won't go well for you. Dude's a broken record player, man, I swear. To all those who co-sign with this stain of a human, I want you to watch this video and tell me why you think it's okay to hate me, but okay with what this guy puts on the internet. So I'm a stain of a human because I warned him of his mod, wanting me to dox him, yet he's not a stain even though he's actually doxed other people publicly. Okay. I get it. I can be mean and come after people, but I do it because they are the worst of the worst. And yet he's friends with a handful of them. And he doesn't just do it because they're the worst of the worst people. He goes after Lug Meg, who does like organizing videos. She organizes her pantry every week or something. She doesn't exploit her children. But he said he's allowed to make fun of her for wearing makeup just because he likes the natural look. To me, that's not saying she's the worst of the worst. That's just saying you're a misogynistic piece of shit. They exploit their kids, so deal with it. But I've never said things like smash that in the face. Yeah, well, me neither. I mean, I have, but it wasn't serious. I made an out-of-pocket joke, but right after, literally right after, I said I don't condone violence whatsoever, and I just want someone to stand up for themselves for once. But I wonder why DCP left out that part. I am not the nicest guy to those who do what they do, but I thought he wasn't actually mean and it was kept in check by his close circle. But this guy takes hypocrisy to a whole new level, and he does it anonymously, so he thinks. Oh boy, that's cryptic, huh? You know, No, I remember someone asking me if I'm afraid of people like DCP. It wasn't about DCP, but you know, you get the idea. And this was my response. Please feel free to pause and read because I'm not going to do it for you. But basically, let's just say it wouldn't go over well for him or anyone else who wants to get froggy. But just think about what he said for a second. He said, I do this anonymously, so I think. This is an actual threat or an implied threat, an idle threat if you will. Like, hey, I'm going to look into you. I'm going to invade your privacy and expose information about you that you may not want online, in which he kind of did or tried to do. And again, he does this to make people feel uncomfortable or fill them with fear because he feels powerful. But I'm not shook at all. For one, he'll never actually try anything because he's the biggest pussy. Dude's scared of people just for asking questions. Doubt he'll ever pull up. And his following is just a bunch of loser housewives who wouldn't dare leave the comfort of their own home. All these people are nothing but a bunch of keyboard warriors. All bark and no bite. Plus, only paranoid scumbags use tactics like these. But hey, just because he's one doesn't mean we all are. And that's on God too. This video was created after researching this discount Jesse Plemons. Jesse Plemons? Oh, that's the dude from Breaking Bad. That's my boy Todd. But wait a second, is he implying that I'm ugly? Is he calling me ugly? The very same person who said that those things are bad? That's not very nice. If I was as pressed as he is about his appearance, I guess I would care. But to be honest, this was a huge miss on his part. I don't even see the correlation at all.
If you're gonna come after me, you better not have like this in your videos, you absolute douche balloon.
My God, he really needs to work on his insults. I thought he was like a professional at roasting and snarking, but I guess if there's no makeup or home decor to bash, he has zero material. Also, I know for a fact that it took way more than 3 minutes to search all those clips up. One of them was taken from a 30-minute video.
I can't wait to see all the justifications for this. I am ready, Apoc. You wanted the smoke. Here it is, my man. I will save you the embarrassment and not actually snark on you. You are not worth it. I'll let your own words do the snarking.
But I am kind of worth it though. I mean, you did go through a handful of my videos, so I am. And I actually don't think you wanted any of the smoke. You've been avoiding me in a debate with me for a while now. I mean, whenever I decide to actually challenge you, I was going to send you a DM on Instagram, but found out that I was actually blocked from you, and this was before any drama. So no, sir, no, old man, you are not one who wants any smoke. I mean, come on, I've debunked everything, while you still don't address anything any other creator has said about you. You're not saving me the embarrassment, you're saving yourself the embarrassment.